Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about taking a break. So, I'm Daniel Norton, photographer here in New York. I make videos like this about philosophy and business and technique, and today we're going to talk about this. It occurred to me that, we've been, of course it varies depending on where you are in the world, but in New York anyways, we've been in lockdown for like a little over a month. And as soon as these things started happening, where, more and more people were losing work or, being laid off or working from home, there seems to be a burst of people doing creative stuff. It's like now's my chance to do it, which is awesome, right? And I love that. And I'm so happy. And that's one of the things I'm doing by doing videos every day is I'm trying to encourage you guys to do that. But it also occurred to me that if you're not used to kind of working for yourself or doing this kind of creative stuff, you may not kind of realize this, because it took me years of working before I realized that when you are freelance or doing your own business or doing something creative where there's not these like set hours, it's hard to feel like you ever get a day off. You basically are just always working. And it's one of those like bragging rights that a lot of entrepreneurs say, I never take a day off it's okay to take a break. You should have goals. And we talked about this before about, if you're trying to set a habit, do a little bit each day, but also realize that if you actually need a break, like if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I need to shoot something today, and you're struggling and you don't want to do it, then take a minute. Granted, if 3 or 4 days in a row happen and you're not doing it, then you've got to readjust here. But I'm talking about you've been going at a steady rate here, and you just need to clear your head. You just need to do something different. It's not a bad idea. Sometimes you just got to sit down and watch Netflix or YouTube or do whatever, and those things that you think maybe are you slacking off actually help a lot when you're a creative, because we've talked about this a bunch, and I'm sure I'll do more and more videos about this. Where you get your inspiration from, it seems obvious to get them from other photographers and looking at pictures, and a lot of people do that, and that's good, but there's so many other sources. You could take a day and watch a whole bunch of episodes of, I don't know, The Twilight Zone or something, right, that's streaming, and become inspired by that, right? Really, on some level, you're like slacking off, but you got to think of the creative process as something more than when you're actually working. And if you've been working like a regular job, where you trade time for money, as they like to say, you're used to the idea of like you would never go into your job and sit down and be like, okay, well, I'm going to watch YouTube for 4 hours. Maybe you would. I don't know. That's a pretty good job if you can do that. But you know what I'm saying? But so it feels weird to be home and being like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here and watch something, And I don't mean like lessons to learn how to do Photoshop or whatever. I'm talking about like just something that you could enjoy, cat videos or whatever it is. Because, cat videos. Sometimes you just gotta relax and let it go. You can't work 7 days forever. It will eventually burn you out. And it took me years to figure this out. When I first like quit my last real job, as I like to say, and I moved to Miami to be a photographer. There were days where there was no work, clearly, but I was always trying to get work, promoting myself, doing this, shooting, cleaning equipment, and I went a few years without ever really taking a vacation. I probably took a day or two here and there to slack off, but never took an actual vacation. Because my whole philosophy was that, people work, 50, or 45 or whatever many weeks a year, so they can have that like few weeks vacation, and they basically do something they don't like, and then for those 2 weeks they're like, yeah, I'm on vacation, and then they go back to what they don't like. And I thought, well, my whole life is a vacation because I'm doing what I love to do. But you still need that separation because it is still work, as I've said in other videos. Even if you're doing what you love, it is still work. That whole like, do what you love and you'll never work. It's still work. Believe me, it's still work, right? And there's going to be days where you don't want to do it, where you're tired and you need a break. And hopefully you can recognize that's coming up ahead of time and get the break before then so you don't burn yourself out. Because being burned out is actually going to work against you a lot. It's going to make your work not as strong. It's going to make you progress slower, and maybe even in directions that aren't, like you'll just keep stagnating and make you feel worse about it. So sometimes you just got to blow it out and let it go. And today is Friday, so I figured it was a good day to say it because the weekend's coming. And of course, we're all probably doing stuff on the weekends, but if you feel like you're at the point where like you've been making progress, but you just need to step away from it, don't feel bad about doing that. Take some time, readjust, get the strength back, get the motivation back, do something else that you really like. It doesn't have to be related to photography. It could be reading a book. It could be cooking. It could be going for a long walk. It could be playing an instrument. It could be anything. even if it's as stupid as watching terrible horror movies from the 1980s, which I definitely recommend. Yeah, do that, right? Break free, get loose, do something different that's not the work so that you can feel like you're having a little bit of a break. And like I said, it's really important because, I mean, again, if you're used to working a regular job and you've been home for the last like month, like not working, let's say if you're on unemployment, you're probably thinking like, well, no, I don't need to take a break. I'm just doing the photography, just doing my creative stuff. It's still work, and it will catch up to you. So make sure that you're being smart, health wise, mind wise there, so that you can be sure to move forward, in a positive way. Anyways, thought I would bring that up today. As because it was Friday, like I said, and this is probably a good opportunity if people aren't thinking of what day of the week it is. Maybe take one of the weekend days, which is more normal for people, and like just take the day off. Don't do anything. Completely relax. I give you permission to do that. So, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell and all that so you get the notifications. And I'll see you tomorrow.